Party with blasting music right outside my bedroom into the AM? Enjoy the shower. I live on the top floor of an apartment building. Last night I had a couple friends over to watch some scary movies and hang out. As the night continues, we hear music get louder and louder outside of my apartment. The next door neighbors were having a Halloween party on their roof. And there were at least 50 to 60 people there. As Top 40 pounded relentlessly outside, unable to be drowned out even by the highest volume on my TV. The cheering of the crowd seemed endless. 2 a.m. came and went. The party showed no sign of slowing or quieting down. I'm all for parties, but have them indoors past a certain hour. Don't keep the whole block up listening to Doja Cat with you. That's when I remembered the water guns. I had gotten them on Amazon during a particularly brutal hot week of summer, but they had laid unused in my closet for the past few months. The forecast did say scattered showers. And nothing got an outside party to wind down better than inclement weather. Embodying the trick half of the trick or treat spirit, my 3 friends and I each grabbed a gun, filled it up with water, donned our coats, and ran up to the roof, squirting the guns off from 2 angles over the unsuspecting guests below. Cheers of fun turned into screams of terror as cold water splashed from above. As I pumped blast after blast of water off the edge of my roof, it felt like I was blasting every noisy neighbor I'd ever had that had kept me up all night with music, an all too common occurrence in NYC. We went back inside, cheeks flushed from our victory. We peeked out the window to see a few raincoats and an umbrella, but after 15 minutes or so the party had fizzled out, and the music was blessedly turned off. As I was using the bathroom a little bit later, which has a window facing their roof, I heard a loud debate echoing about whether it had been rain, or someone with water guns in the neighboring roof. One person swore they'd seen figures and heard them laughing. The other 2 said it was rain just like the forecast said. I guess they'll never know. Don't engineer solutions. Back when Compaq made laptops with 2.5 inches mechanical hard drives, they came out with a model where, if bumped even a little, a certain way, would dislodge the hard drive from its connector, and the results would be a call to help desk that the hard drive had failed. Help desk would route the equipment to the depot repair section. I was help desk manager also over depot repair at this time. One genius tech came up with the idea to wedge a bit of folded paper behind the drive to keep it in place, and so I had all the techs start doing this anytime we touched that model. The IT director received somehow the COO's his boss laptop, on which the hard drive had failed, really failed, as she had dropped it while the hard drive was spinning. Upon taking the cover off, no idea why, discovered the folded bit of paper. He made the trip down the elevator to my office with equipment in hand, thrust it on my desk in front of me, and demanded to know what was going on with that. I explained. That's unacceptable. If Compaq had this fatal flaw, they needed to fix it. My team needs to not be engineering solutions, especially such a shade tree solution. Send any that fail back to the manufacturer. I explained several issues with that, primary of which was, at the time, a 2 to 3 week turnaround. But no more tinkering, send them to Compaq to be fixed properly. Cue malicious compliance. I explained the issue to the depot techs and they all got the hint. Every second computer that came in for anything started going to Compaq for repairs. Quicker than I thought, though. Probably 3 to 4 weeks complaints were flowing into me, the IT director, and even the COO about slow turnaround and no equipment. I was summoned to her office and found myself under a bus made by the very angry IT director in the other chair. What's going on? Demanded the COO after methodically explaining that the company needs PCs to be working. You think? I explained that we are no longer allowed to engineer solutions to Compaq issues, so we have to send many of our machines to the manufacturer now. I went on to explain how I like to let the techs use initiative with oversight, but not anymore, as it's not a proper fix if we do it ourselves. For the IT director, this is his direction and we're just following orders. I was thanked and excused by the COO. He was gone within the year, and that was my next promotion. Long before the vintage of the machines that you are talking about, Compaq had the luggable, a 40-pound machine that looked like a suitcase. Just about every time that you picked it up and carried it somewhere, the power supply would just barely dislodge. This was in the day when 5,000 luggables came with 4-hour desk-side response service. After about the 4th call, the Compaq service rep said to me, "Look, I didn't show you this. I'll deny ever even admitting it was possible, and I certainly didn't tell you about it." And then showed me what they did in the back room to fix it. They would pick it up from the front and rotate it about 1.5 inches off the surface with the back still on the surface, and let go. That would reseat the power supply. And as long as it turned on, they could read a book for the remaining 45 minutes of the authorized repair time. If it didn't turn on, it meant the power supply connector had also torqued a bit and they had to actually take it apart to reseat it. Outsourcing the repairs saved them 2 trips to the desk, and the repair time could be 2 hours. Could be 4, our clients were all over New Jersey. I worked at Compaq in the Portwood division, where we would test pre-production and post-production laptops for issues similar to this and would issue a PET to have it fixed. I was in the network testing area for WFW3, 11 and Windows 95. We would image a drive, flash the latest BIOS, and test the hardware in a simulated enterprise environment. Our life cycle was expected to be 6 months from development to final release. However, while I was there, a new VP issued a directive to compress that time into weeks, thus resulting in the end users becoming the testing group. I left soon afterwards to lead a rollout team for Windows 95 at Texaco and then later for Shell Oil Company. Several weeks later, I found out that the division had been butchered and everyone I had been working with at Trick or Treat. I was talking to somebody recently about trick or treating, and was reminded of this bit of childish compliance from long ago. Trick or treating where I live is generally easy in normal times. Ring the doorbell. Say trick or treat. Get candy and compliments on your costume. Next house. Repeat. Of course, there are always houses that like to switch things up. There was one house in my neighborhood that would get skipped by the younger kids because the guy there would pull out all the stops to try and scare you. A few would say, okay, here's a trick, and show some lame magic trick, before laughing and dispensing the expected candy. There were rumors of people who would ask you to sing a song before they would give you your candy. I only ever came across one guy who did. As I was approaching the house, I saw there was a girl on the doorstep who was taking longer than usual. It turned out the guy was making her sing for her treat. She was doing it half-heartedly, just wanting to get on to the next house already, and he was insisting she try harder, sing louder, and keep going. Finally he gave her a single candy and she left. Trick or treat, I said dutifully. I already knew what I was going to do. He looked at me with a smug expression. Bowl of treats held out of reach. Sing me a song, he demanded. I belted it out. This is the song that never ends. He couldn't put the candy in my bag fast enough. I remember singing I Know a Song That Gets on Everybody's Nerves as a child. I would have absolutely done this when I was younger and I approve 100%. Good work. Op. I hope you still do this as an adult. I remember one year, when I was a little kid, probably 5 to 6 years old. Me, my older brother, and my dad went trick or treating. It was pretty cold that year. We happened to come to this house with this older couple in it. They invited us in to warm up and gave us cake and my dad some coffee. Great times back in the way back when. So in St. Louis they used to make kids tell jokes in order to get in. Several instances the better the joke the more candy you'd get. My siblings and I would spend the weeks before Halloween poring over Reader's Digests for cheeky jokes that were borderline kid-friendly. Apparently this is not the norm outside of STL, so the first Halloween I had my own trick or treaters I was in for a culture shock and a lot of scrubbing off eggs the next morning. My mom is one who has kids do a trick for their treats. Doesn't have to be a song though. It can be as simple as jumping up and down, especially for the younger ones. We never had a lack of kids coming to our door. Some would come to our house and skip the neighbors. And some groups would even spend all month working on their song/skit/dance. It's awesome to watch. Cut me in line? Get sticky treat or tricky. Happy Halloween. This one happened 2 Halloweens ago. Pre-pandemic. But I was just reminded of it last night. My biggest pet peeve in the world is when someone cuts me in line. Grocery store checkouts. Traffic. Bathroom lines. It makes me seethe with rage. Usually if I can, I'll call the person out and ask them to move to the back. But I'm not a very intimidating looking person, so most people just ignore me or have an attitude. Because it's such a big pet peeve of mine, I will go pretty far to enact some very petty revenge on line jumpers. Halloween weekend I went with a group of friends out to different bars. And as expected there were some long lines to get in. I witnessed a group consisting of 3 guys and 1 girl hop a nearby brick fence and try to shimmy their way in front of the group in front of me. They were promptly denied skippage until the girl of the line jumping group got involved and got angry and whiny at the others for not letting her in. She seemed a little unhinged, so I assume that's why the group in front decided it wasn't worth the fight. And ultimately they wound up letting her group skip. I was not okay with this. But I didn't want to cause a big scene either. And I knew the bouncers didn't see or care on such a busy night. So I waited until we got inside to seek revenge. The place was kind of a mixed bag. There were people dancing as well as people standing and chatting with their drinks. But it was all back to back crowded and a tight squeeze to maneuver through. I saw the girl from the line cutting incident dancing and flirting with one of the 3 guys who cut with her. It would have been too easy to walk by and accidentally spill my drink on her. So I took it a step further. I waited until she got her own drink. And then I grabbed an abandoned cup that someone had left on a ledge nearby, which was filled halfway with some fruity sticky drink. Passed by her. Feigned being pushed by the crowd and knocked into her heart. Her drink went everywhere. All over the guy she was flirting with and on both of their shoes. And my drink went down her back. I dipped out before she could even turn around to see who had banged into her. And then watched from the sidelines as she gathered her whole group and stomped out the door to leave because her night was ruined. I then rejoined my friend group. Grabbed my drink, which I was glad I didn't have to waste. And we enjoyed the rest of our night. Happy Halloween. I hate this too. Couple of years ago at Tomerland, a couple of girls decide to cut the line and order their drinks. The girl serving the drinks just told them to get their asses at the